not want to be on this planet.
All right. First and foremost, this everything about what happens to a man when he puts on a bonnet is fucking crazy. All right. Just his hand positioning alone is making everyone watch this right now a little more gay. I'm sorry. All right. It is every time you men put a bonnet on, you put yourself in a woman's position. Listen, always look at a nigga face. Every time you see a nigga has a bonnet on, look at his face. He always either has a nervous look at his face or he has a real feminine look at his face, and his neck is in a real feminine posture. All right. Every time I have a conversation, I really want to talk mostly about the bonnet. Every time I have a conversation with women about men wearing bonnets and how much I hate seeing that shit, the first thing they say is, "What's wrong with it?" And that in and of itself should tell y'all, especially you men, this is why you do not listen to them. They don't understand what's wrong with a man wearing a thing that a woman wears to bed. Y'all ninjas might as well wear those pajama sets these girls be wearing. Those satin pajama sets where it'd be like shorts and like a button up top and shit.
Anymore. I'm tired. I'm tired. Gas is high. We can barely afford groceries. We can barely afford rent. Why do I need to make three times the rent when there is no job out there paying me three times the rent? And if I need to break the lease, I have to pay rent plus a month or so, or 2 months the rent. Lights are high. Gas is high. The gas bill. Existing is expensive. You have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to have a child. But we need children to keep the future of the human race progressing. I'm ready for God to come back. I'm ready for Jesus to return. I'm tired of being alive on this planet. People are rude to you on the internet for absolutely no reason. I just saw a video of pilots, military pilots, getting arrested because they didn't want to bomb innocent people. This video may get flagged. Y'all may not even see this. Or more than likely, it's going to get suppressed and it's only going to get maybe 75 views. Not 7,500, not 75,000, 75 views. Now, what I did see is that, I remember when Sonic was coming out and everybody was like, we don't like this, go fix it. Right? And then they delayed the movie and then they fixed it. Uh-huh. They did the exact same thing with a different movie. I can't think of the name of it right now. They were like, we don't like this, go fix it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Then Jimmy Kimmel got fired. A good old white man on that nice TV, late night TV. Y'all boycotted Disney and they lost three, $3 billion of revenue.
All right, so let me go ahead and start to break this down because at first I was feeling some type of way about it. Like, yo, I feel for him. I hope things get better for him. But the more you let people talk, the more they reveal what their true nature is. And so, first of all, outside of the bonnet, because a lot of times we look at these guys and they say this, and I'm usually looking at a woman say something like this, but everything that's being communicated speaks liberal and feminine. Liberal and feminine from
You know what? We can stop it there. I kind of, my point's kind of been made. The reason why, and again, he makes some more points and whatnot. And the point I'm making is, when you are a man, you better figure it out. You better fight back. I had to make that choice myself. I said, nah, nigga, I'm gonna fight back. I'm not living in fear of what may happen. Life is not happening to me. I'm using everything I got at my disposal. Okay, I'm making my spirit strong. I'm taking action. I'm listening. All right, I'm developing on. Listen, I'm making changes in life. Getting back to that morning walk. All right, getting back to my spiritual walk. Getting back to what is important. When you look at what's important in life, the path becomes clearer. It's so tough, but I always had to bring myself back to my spiritual practice. That's what matters the most. That's the foundation. That's why, yo, you gotta have something. A lot of people who are successful, a lot of times they are religious because you need someone to hold that weight for you. You need someone to hand that to. All right. You need to know. All right. If I keep doing this, right, and I base myself in this right here, I will see a change. I will for sure see a change. All right. Anything is possible. All right. Listen, I'm proud of the fact that, yo, last year, like this time last year, fam, I was in I had my whole apartment in my grandma's living room. I had no idea where I wanted to go, where I was before. Like I had a tough time getting over the fact that, yo, I lost my apartment, and it was in a perfect location. It was a perfect size. Pause. But what's funny was I did think, and I was thinking like, man, at some point, I go, we gotta move out of here, man, and get a 2 bedroom. I'm over there like, man, shit, I can't afford my bills now, right? And I'm like, how we gonna afford for a 2 bedroom? And I mean, I had no idea when I was gonna do that, right? But somehow, within not 6 months, not no long time, within 2 months, this was the first building I came to. I remember I came here when I saw the apartment. It was the same one downstairs, right? Saw the apartment. I remember the guy saying, "Okay, yeah, so all right, so let's go this way now." And there was more. Like, there was more apartment. You feel me? And like I'm used to being here now, but like, yo, this like every time I'm here in this house, this is a house actually. I gotta pinch myself. And I'm sick. I'm like, yo, am I really here? Am I really here? Because I'm living in appreciation. This is the manifestation of hard work. It's the manifestation of making the right causes. Because this is that time where, like, yo, I ain't had no credit. I ain't had much money. Okay, I had a filing on my record. Yo, I worked so hard to never have that happen in my life. But hey, listen, life happens, yo. You have to adapt. Gotta fight back. Gotta fight back. And also, if you a man and you want women, listen, bro. Right now, it's about to be survival of the fittest. Things are going to change. Relationships are going to change. And more than ever, I remember a moment ago, he mentioned job. Well, when have men let the income they get from their job limit how much money they make? The income I get from my job don't limit how much money I make. I still have more time in the day. The reason why you don't see that is because your problem solving skills is trash. The reason why I told you that story a moment ago about how I wound up getting behind on all my bills and everything, it was because my problem solving skills were not where they needed to be. I wasn't problem solving in an appropriate way. But like nigga, you broke. My nigga, you are behind on this rent. What you gonna do about this? Because all the work I was doing, I was not used to doing nothing physical. The first time I did Instacart, I did 2 orders, came home, and took a nap. I was fucking exhausted the first time I did Instacart. You feel me? Because, like, yo, well, I ain't gonna lie. I think I did like a multi-order. It was like 3 in 1. Back then, I didn't understand. You don't. And also, that I went to Aldi's. Aldi's is the worst place to shop at. They pay the very least. Somebody can order 100 things, and they're gonna charge them $5 to do it. And I'm dead ass. I see the biggest orders ever because mostly people who order, I don't know what it is, but people who order from Aldi's, they do not tip, bro. They do not tip. People who order from ShopRite and East Orange, they do. That's my reason I don't go there. If people who order from ShopRite and East Orange just tipped decently, like a $5 minimum, then the driver can make so much. More people will want to shop over there. But that's why they be having to put 4 people together. A lot of times I'm like, yo, I'm not beat for doing 3 orders for $15, my nigga. Unless like they all getting 3 things. I ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. Understand? But anywho, yeah, you don't ain't no limit on how much you can earn. Even with this right here. I find time to work. I find time to do spiritual activities, go to the gym, cook, smoke great hashish. All right, kick it with my friends, battle rap, okay, make videos. I write songs, all this shit, all in the day's work of being an honorable 6 pass. You know what I'm saying? You know what?
Niggas always gotta show they
You was late. You wasn't there when I needed you. Anyway, whatever, yo. All right, man. Let's go ahead and kick it, man, real quick about this whole thing with LeBron. So, first and foremost, what I want to get into is again, this is kind of inspired. This is always inspired by Angry Man. So, Angry Man made this point about how black people don't know how to love nobody, right? And when I was younger, and he always talks about how he grew up knowing and thinking that there's something terribly wrong with the way that black people think in terms of what we think is cool. Perfect example I always use is when I first came to school in the hood. This was in 5th grade. It's when life really changed for me, and I feel like, I mean, it made me the man I am today, but like, I was exposed to so many more bad experiences and bad kinds of, now kids are already evil, right? But kids in the hood are on a different level because those kids are starving. So like that's where you kind of really learn to experience, excuse me, your first experiences with basically liars and master manipulators, right? I never forget having a friend, his name was Eric, and I forget what he told me he had. Basically, in so many words, he said he had like whatever I had wanted or I was interested in. He said he had it, right? So at the time, I was really into printing out pictures from Dragon Ball Z because this is back in '99, so there was no internet. You couldn't watch the show. You had to go buy the tape, this and that. So I was really into like printing those out and putting them into a binder. So I don't know. I was weird, right? So I think he lied about like a bunch of stuff. I remember the first time I came to his house, and like he didn't have anything he said he had. And I remember years later, my mother had said, you know, Eric and his family, they were very, very poor. Now I remember at the time, and I can always like kind of recall this time where like my mother like went to the back and came back and whatnot and gave his mother like some money. And I fucking happened a time or two, right? And at the time I didn't understand that this woman was doing so bad that she actually was asking my mother and them. It wasn't even a man in the house. Except like me, you know, me and my uncle. My uncle's a little bit older than me, and like she really like. First, now mind you, she didn't know my parents. She didn't know. She didn't know. She didn't know. Like her, and my mother didn't have like a relationship like that. For her to even feel like she could do that. I mean, and now in hindsight, I realize like how it was in such poor taste. But hey, but they was really struggling, and as a young person, you don't really know what's going on. But this is the dysfunction of the hood. It's such a common thing that goes on when women don't have a man in the house. Ain't nothing but struggle, unless they lucky enough to have a really good job or whatever the case is. It's nothing but struggle. All right, because you can't get but so far on one income. You can't get but so far without male leadership. There is no success without male leadership. You understand? So anyway, going back to the point that Angry Man made about us not knowing how to love. One of the things that has been exposed throughout this beef with Drake and whatnot is people do this thing where they don't want to deal with the accountability or the weight of something being wrong or maybe them possibly being wrong. And in a situation, what people rather do or people what people's critique is anytime Drake has an issue with something, they kind of lean on this whole like colorism debate. I'm sorry, this whole colorism argument where it doesn't matter what the issue is, what the problem is. It doesn't matter what happened. Whatever complaints you have, that's all a matter of you being a bitch ass nigga. It's not because hey he has a reason to be upset. So in terms of this situation with LeBron and Drake, right? What the critique people want to have is that oh well you know you're just being a bitch. I don't know how else to put it. That's simple as that. Which is the most disrespectful thing ever to do to a man. If a man has an issue, like for example, right? If me and you were talking, we have a conversation, right? And let's just say